Hello and welcome back to the JOHI Design Studio. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive at one of our most popular products, the Simple Stool. We originally created these about 2 years ago as extra seating, but since then they found a whole life of its own as a plant stand, end table, sofa table, put your shoes on by the door seat. There are just a ton of functions for these colorful home accents, and I think it's overdue that we make a video showing off how it's actually made. So we're going to jump right in, and the stool starts its fabrication journey over on the CNC. The CNC, for those of you who don't know, is a fancy machine that cuts out a digital file. So with that, we will put our industrial design skills to use and open up Fusion 360, which is a CAD CAM software, and model the eventual stool design. Over on the CNC, we've loaded a sheet of Baltic birch plywood, and Baltic birch, unlike your home store variety plywood, is really high quality stuff. There are over 13 layers of hardwood veneer inside the plywood, and it's using really quality glues in between each layer. And what that means is it's a little bit heavier than plywood that you might be used to, but it's incredibly stiff. And if you've owned one of our stools and have sat on it, you know what I'm talking about. These things are deceptively strong. We actually get asked the question all the time, how strong are they? How much weight can you put on it? Truth is, you will never reach the weight limit of one of these stools. So the CNC is not all robot. It does require quite a bit of hand holding and overseeing to make sure things go according to plan. In this shot, I'm changing out one of the bits. All in all, it takes 4 different types of bits to get the stool cut exactly how we intend. And in this shot, we're coming back into the joints and doing a final pass. From plywood to plywood, manufacturer to manufacturer, the sheets of plywood can change in thickness, and we want those joints to be perfectly tight, but not too tight, so that everything goes together smoothly once you receive your stool. It can be a pretty mesmerizing process watching the CNC go around and cut out all this joinery. And one of the last steps we're going to do with it is put this little chamfer on the underside of the joinery. What that does for us is make it easier to assemble once everything is said and done. You're not trying to line up all 5 joints just right. You just got to get them close, and the stool will kind of self-align. Once the CNC has done its job, we can get to work popping all its components off the machine and getting them ready to paint. The first step is going to be giving them a light sanding. That's going to ensure that the paint goes on smooth as can be. And as you'll see for the rest of the video, sanding is definitely a theme in the production process for these stools. We use a product called milk paint, which has been around for hundreds of years. Milk paint starts off as a milk protein and you add colorants to it. We use a product from Real Milk Paint Co. based in Tennessee. And what I love about this paint, one, obviously it's eco-friendly, pet-friendly, kid-friendly, but also it's just easy to use in the shop. There's no harsh chemicals or solvents or anything like that. Just put the powder in, add a little water, and give it a good shake. We like to let our paint sit for about 45 minutes before getting over to our stools, and the reason we do that is it just allows the paint to break down. We find it becomes a little more sticky and overall just ends up being a better product. The painting process is a labor of love. It's actually the most time-consuming part of our Simple Stool fabrication process. The price points of these, you know that the painted version is quite a bit more expensive than the natural oiled version. The reason is, after each layer of paint, and there's 2 of them, we're going to have to sand it back down, almost back to bare wood. And what that does is create a really buttery, smooth texture. If you already own one of our stools, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Everybody's got a little bit of a different technique, but you can see Nicole here definitely has something of a methodical approach to how she likes to paint the stools. So after the first coat, just like we did before we even put the first coat on, we're going to take it over to the sanding area and give the stools a quick sanding. The paint is really easy to sand, almost too easy, you can definitely overdo it, but doing this step allows for that fine texture that we're after. So while Nicole gets these stools ready for their second coat, I'm going to spend a little time talking about our manufacturing process more generally, and our shop. So for those of you that don't follow the Instagram, which you should, we're a 3-person shop. It's myself, Raja, the voice, Nicole, who's in this shot, and Holly, my wife, who you'll see in and out of all our videos and Instagram. And that's our whole team. So we're not a big factory pumping out hundreds of these a day or anything like that. We really focus on quality and consistency. And in order to do that, we do small batch work. Whether it's the stools or a piece of furniture, we're really taking our time with every step, using the knowledge and tools at our disposal to make the best crafts that we can. So after 2 coats of paint and 3 sandings, it's time to seal in that color and put a little hard wax oil on these stools. Our product of choice is Osmo Poly X, and it's a vegetable wax and oil based mixture that we use on a lot of our furniture here at JOHI. It's resistant to dirt and grime and water, and is an eco-friendly finish that we are really proud to be using on these stools. Once that is dried up, we can bring these stools over to the router and start taking care of the sharp edges. So if you look at a lot of, Etsy furniture, you'll find that the edges are kind of neglected. Truth is, it takes a lot of work to round over and sand the edges of plywood nicely. However, we believe it's definitely an essential step to make those edges as smooth and splinter-free as possible. The router will take away the bulk of the material, leaving behind a round over. That said, it's still not quite smooth enough, at least not up to our standards, so we will go from this tool over to the sanding table one last time and give all the exposed edges a final sanding. That sanding really sets the stage for the final fit and feel of this product. We're back in the finishing area for that final coat of Osmo Poly X. It's a journey getting to this stage, but it's definitely worth the effort. The Osmo, unlike a more commercial finish, can't really be sprayed on as easily, so we opt for elbow grease and patience to get the finish that we're after. One of the nice things about it is it's very easy to refinish. If you ever had a accident down the road, you could just wipe a little bit more Osmo on, vigorously wipe it off, and you are good to go. One of the final steps before we can get everything packaged up is to put this little neoprene cord in here. We like to do this because the stools go all over the world. Different environments and humidity could change how things fit together. The neoprene acts as a kind of gasket to take up some potential slack if the plywood decides to shrink down the road. And here is a batch of, I think that's 7 stools hanging out, ready to be packaged. We've put a lot of effort into designing the packaging for the stool, and they all come in this beautiful custom box. And the box itself has a lot of information that we've covered in this video, so if you do end up gifting the stool, your loved one will know just how special it is. We are definitely new to the whole YouTube game, so if you liked what you heard and watched, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe. I can't tell you how much it means to us to read and reply to all of those. Of course, if you have any questions or thoughts about what we might do to make it better, go ahead and leave those too.